What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Avarice podcast, Avarice Trading Channel on YouTube. Coming back to you with another movie commentary today. I'm going to be doing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So, just give you a few minutes to get everything situated if you want to watch along. I believe that this is the unrated extended version. Again, as with the previous one, I think that almost all the physical media releases were the unrated, extended, whatever the fuck. It was some kind of agreement or deal that Rob Zombie had where they would have one cut in the theater and then that cut would not be released on, Blu-ray, etc. for the most part. Kind of weird. So, like, the original, or the first Rob Zombie Halloween movie, I've never seen the theatrical version, I don't think. So I don't even know how that plays out or anything. I think I watched a video on YouTube once that compared the two, but I didn't absorb it, to be honest. It's just not that crucial to the lore and to, the mystique of Michael, etc., to go back and to know that. It's not like the legendary producer's cut versus the theatrical cut of Halloween 6, or if you found out that there was a bunch of scenes cut out of the original or something like that. It just doesn't hold as much meaning. I don't really give a fuck about the differences. It couldn't have been that much different. So, if you've never listened before or watched, I'll have the video playing. You'll be able to slightly hear it at points, and then I will be doing commentary over it, making jokes, making fun, getting disgusted, getting pissed off, whatever the case may be. Sometimes I go off on tangents. I usually circle back. The other commentary tracks on the movies previous in the franchise, I have a lot more insight and stuff to offer about the mystique of Michael and my opinions and why he does what he does and the lore and all that. Once you get into like Resurrection and then the last movie, which is just a remake of the first one, and now this one, I don't quite have as much to say from like a pontificating point of view. There's not as much mystery there, so it's more just calling it how I see it. I got my coffee here. I got my bong. I will give you a few more seconds to get yourselves ready, and then we will start the movie. Abba Zabba, you're my only friend. Alrighty, so pop, popcorn. Water, whole lot of water. Anyway, okay, so I'm getting ready to cue it up here, and why isn't it giving me the option? What just happened? Okay, so I'm pushing play in 3, 2, 1, play. Dimensions on the screen. There might have been like a 1 second delay there between when it actually started playing after I hit it. Damn, she's obsessed. I only hit it one time. White horse. See, we're all... the very opening, we're getting introduced to bullshit. He had to, like, I said in my last one, I think that Rob Zombie, he watched the lot of the franchise and, like, absorbed pieces from each individual movie instead of realizing that it's all supposed to go back to the original and the other ones kind of fucked it up along the way. And so I really feel like he came away he claims to be a fan. I don't know. I mean, I can just go off what he says, I guess, but it's like he watched all those movies and he came out going, Michael's magic. Yeah, he's magic. Like, he absorbed too much of the fucking Thor and Druid shit.
With this big white horse. And you were gonna come and take me back home.
And
Wish I could take you home, honey. I miss you there.
So this is gonna be like essentially the main plot of the movie is he had a dream with her and a white horse and she was coming to take him back home. So now, even though there was no flashbacks of the mother or anything in the previous one, after she killed herself, it was like she was just totally gone. No acknowledgement of her really or anything. Michael didn't have dreams, etc. This horse definitely wasn't in the story. He didn't have it with him or any of that fucking shit. It's just a weird direction to take it. And I don't know if you call them hallucinations or just the images that he sees, the daydreaming shit. So now we're cutting back. This is like a continuation of the end of the last movie. She shot Michael, and now she's just wandering down the street with a Bible and a gun. There's a man going round taking names. This is Brackett pulling up behind her. He's keeping it together a little well, considering he just found his daughter slashed to shit a few hours ago. She's got a gun in her hand, and he just approaches her, and this isn't exact, like... This is how you would want a police officer to interact with you if you were in this situation. But most likely, they're going to pull over in front of you, whip out their gun, and tell you to fucking get on the ground. And in their defense, they have to make sure that they're safe first. Yes, they're trying to keep other people safe, but it does no good if they're not keeping themselves safe at the same time. So, I know that they have a relationship and everything, but it's still a person covered in blood carrying a fucking .357. Now he makes it seem like we're going to go into a hospital setting just like John Carpenter did in Halloween 2. And we're about to get into the super gore factor. Like, I get it that we're trying to display how bad she's injured, but he hangs there just a little bit too long. It's like he enjoys the fact that the audience is squirming, and it's like in a thing, hey, let me come in and get a provolone. Where's the fucking cheese? Oh, that's mozzarella? You got the gabagoo? Hey! This cheese smells like your fucking sister's cunt. I swear to God, Bobby, he told me your sister's cunt. Smells like the river, baby. The makeup and effects are great. It's just, I don't need it. I know that they make these guys seem kind of lighthearted and, not really gauging the seriousness of the situation. But that's their job. They do shit like that every day. So he's not really concerned with the who's and what's of what's going on there. He just wants to know if the body's heavy. And that's totally how people get. You become desensitized to shit like that. It's like the movie Fletch, where the doctor is, I think he's performing an autopsy and he's eating a sandwich and he just lays it down on the corpse's stomach. Like, you just get desensitized to shit like that when you see it over and over again. That's a spicy meatball. Oh, goddamn. Ah. Ugh. Woo. God damn. That's one thing. It's kind of weird about people. There's certain things that we just kind of gloss over and don't really get into the seriousness of, or really take time to let the thought sink in and really comprehend what's going on. Like somebody tells you that they had surgery and you're just like, yeah, they had surgery, whatever. You don't really think about, the cutting and flaying and stitching and pulling. Like I had my dog fixed. Now she's just got a scar on her stomach. You don't think about the fact that, like, they put her to sleep on this table, sliced her guts open, fiddled around with some shit in there, and then just sewed her back up. It's kind of peculiar. I mean, it just seems normal to us, but it's pretty fucking peculiar. and gross, but we just kind of talk about it, toss it around, but we don't go into the details. It's just like, yeah, I had knee surgery, I had back surgery. Oh, you mean they sliced you open and hammered and chiseled on your fucking spine? Now we gotta go into a disgusting sexual necrophilia realm. I honestly think that Rob Zombie has been famous for so long, and he's in kind of this weird metal grunge, not grunge, gore kind of zombie rock stuff. I think he's kind of isolated in a world. I don't think he knows how real people talk to each other. And that's why all of his conversations are just like, you're so fucking hot, I want to fuck that dead chick, suck my dick, you're a pussy. Like, he doesn't have a lot of depth to his dialogue, and I think that he really doesn't know how real people interact with each other. And the way all his interactions are going to be affected because he's Rob Zombie. When he's talking to a hot chick or something like that, when he's talking to a producer, it's going to carry a different weight and have a different just environment to it. So when he's got to make two regular people just have a conversation in a movie, it turns into fucking corpses. And then the guy goes from disgusted by it to making a joke about it. That is kind of a funny joke, though. Oh, god damn. Is that how it really go down? I don't live in cow country anymore. I used to live by a lot of cows, but I never heard about anybody just straight running into one with a car. Are cows that sturdy? I would have thought that you just drive through it. Like, it'd do a lot of damage, and parts of it would probably fly through the windshield. But I wouldn't think that it would react like you're hitting a brick wall and just stop your car dead like that. Where's the safety equipment in this vehicle? No airbags? Were they wearing seatbelts? And also, what's with the Halloween movies and transporting dead bodies in the back of stripped down white vans? Y'all have never heard of like a hearse? We had a relative living with us about a year ago that had cancer, and they died here at the house. And when they came to pick them up, they brought a hearse. Fuck. I get that we're trying to show that he's in a lot of pain, but do we need to just be focused on his face and having only the words fuck spoken for so long? It's... When Michael first slides out here, it's pretty badass, but it's just odd decisions from the get-go. Ow, 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 fuck, ow, 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 fuck, help me, help me! Like, a monkey could have written this script. At least this portion. God damn, he looks badass there, though. The picking up the piece of glass and slicing his throat is fucking the illest, but cutting his whole head off with it, so he sawed through his spine with a piece of glass. How long was he standing here doing this for? And even though she shot him in the face, at least supposedly, his mask is just kind of like burnt on that side. It's like torched. It's not really blown out like you would expect. I think they made the mask with a breakaway patch, and I think that darker spot is the breakaway part. And then later in the movie, when the stripper who has no consequence in the story whatsoever reaches back and grabs it, she tears that one chunk away. never to be seen again. You ever be taking a shit and you flush a toilet and one chunk come back? What does that chunk want? I forgot that we have the mom and the white horse this early in the movie. I always like to hold up the first like half hour of the film as like, you know, the possibility of what it could have been, the ultimate. But he was mixing in some bullshit still. The half an hour, this hospital sequence is still great, but the white horse, and that's harkens so much to Jason Voorhees and killing for his mom. Killer, or was it Killer Mom? No, that's the mom saying that, but anyway, you know how Jason idolizes his mom and has like a shrine to her and all this shit. It really just feels like a horrible written way for him to work his wife back into the movie. I don't know. I do appreciate the much more realistic hospital look on this as compared to the original Halloween 2. That just seemed kind of like a stripped down, real empty hospital. This feels more like a real hospital. I also wasn't alive in 81 when they shot Halloween 2. Maybe hospitals were more like that back then. So Annie lived. Even though this is a dream sequence, Annie did live. Spoilers. Laurie still seems like herself here. She hasn't had that weird character turn where it's all just fuck it all, fuck this world, fuck everything that you stand for. Those were Slipknot lyrics, if you didn't know. Used to listen to a lot of Slipknot growing up. They were like my number one go-to in high school. They were like my favorite band. Yeah, you look fine. You ready to leave? The insurance company is going to send over an agent soon. Who's going to evaluate you and see if they're still willing to pay for your care. I have a feeling they're going to recommend you for discharge.
I need something for my head. Hello? I'm getting really dizzy.
Stop walking around. You're not supposed to be doing that. You just had the night from hell and then went through a bunch of surgery. Your arms broke, your legs broke. You got stitches all over the fucking place. You're carrying around a drip. You're getting dizzy because you're not supposed to be doing that. Can I get another one? It didn't go in my mouth. Did she not know she was cut? I don't understand. She comes out all silent and then like she's in shock and then goes to speak and realizes she's bleeding. This fucking hospital sequence, Michael is just so badass. He's just a berserker. It's just destruction. And it really pisses you off because it gives you a glimpse into what he could have turned this movie into. He really could have put Michael in some badass situations and written just a fucking badass, violent, scary Halloween movie. And instead, we get like the humanization of Michael with like magic and white horses and his mom and the character turn of Laurie, the character turn of Loomis. So, the first one that he made was pretty good. And he had an opportunity that no one else has had in the history except for John Carpenter. But John Carpenter didn't know he was making a franchise. He just thought he was making kind of horror exploitation film, you know, the Babysitter Murders. It's going to make a little change, and he's going to move along. So Rob Zombie is really the only one who got to start from the beginning, knowing that this is probably going to be a franchise, and kind of craft it in that direction. And he just fucked it all up. For one, we have these huge gaps in the original storyline and these huge pieces of time where there were no movies that are unexplained, you know, and that's why we have H2O and it's 20 years later and stuff. He had the opportunity to start from the beginning, and we could have just movie after movie after movie after movie and not really address the time and the age factor quite as much and get a ton of longevity out of it, because you get to start from the beginning and you basically get to rewrite the entire story until the end. You don't have all these constraints as far as like the new remake that just came out. They're making that a direct follow-up to the original Halloween. So it's kind of like H4O. It's 40 years later. But you have these characters who are in their 60s now. Rob Zombie got to start from the beginning. And even if he were still making... If he hadn't fucked this one up so bad, he would have had the opportunity to make Halloween 3, which we would finally be able to get a Halloween 3 that had Michael Myers in it. If they had had the balls to make the newest one Halloween 2, The Return of the Shape or something to that effect, since technically it is a follow-up to Halloween 1. It is basically the second sequel, or the second version of the sequel. So this next one that they roll out could have been Halloween 3. I have no idea what direction they're going to try to go with the title, because it's getting to be confusing. We now have 3 movies just called Halloween. John Carpenter's Rob Zombies, and then the newest one by Blumhouse. Anyway, so I'm a bit frustrated that he fucked this movie up so bad, because this, I don't want to say could have had the most potential for the franchise, but it had the potential to be an 8-movie long storyline like the first arc was. I guess the first arc ends at 6, and then you have 7 and 8 that are kind of tacked on to 1 and 2. Anyway, you get my point. And we could have had a lot more continuity with the actors, the characters, the writing, the directing. At least we could have got a trilogy out of it that was badass. Because I know I'm talking over it, but this beginning of this movie is so fucking good. He just upped the ante on the original sequel with the Halloween chases and stuff. It's pouring rain. I don't think we've ever seen Michael in the pouring rain. The hair on the mask gets all matted down and wet. It looks fucking killer. It's just an added effect to the drama. She's about to run out to the security thing and meet Buddy. Buddy gets out of the car and it's pouring rain. His fucking donuts get all wet. I gotta tell you, I wouldn't want those donuts after that. Who wants a wet donut? My first priority would have been keeping those donuts dry, getting out of the car and getting into this fucking hut. And the security guard, they're always so laissez-faire. They never believe there's a problem. Just, I'll go get my car and we'll go. And this is a very Michael-like thing to do, too. They were just in like a foot chase. He was right behind her. And now, where did he go? He's like laying in the cut, waiting for this to play out. Here he comes. At some point, he's going to notice the security guard pulling up, and he just decides to let it play out for a minute. The mask is fucked up, but it's still a mask, and I'm okay with it. He's walking like he's got a bit of shit in his pants. You should have called in sick today, bro. That would be a fucking terrifying experience. You just think you're coming into your little security hut to watch your bullshit TV shows until your shift's over, And there's just this girl hiding under your desk. Just because you work here doesn't mean it's going to be fine. I know we served you a raw hamburger, but it's okay. I work here. Everything's going to be fine. I know the stripper had her period on the stage and you got some blood on you, but I work here. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. If you excuse me, I have to Windex the polls. Excellent idea. Lock me in and take the keys with you. I would love nothing more. Why didn't you tell her to lock the door? The fucking thing is on the inside. Just have... You think she's helpless? He left 5 fucking seconds ago. What are you... I get it that you're scared, but... Did you think he was going to walk to the car, get in, start it, and pull up in 3 seconds? Where did he go? He was right there. Now it's a peculiar amount of time. Now it would make sense for you to start getting worried. Not immediately after he fucking leaves. It's a Ford. Oof. He's got that Dino Ford Taurus. Michael with an axe is pretty fucking badass. I know he's the classic, trademark weapon is the butcher knife, but I like Michael with an axe in 6 and in this. Where do you think she went, Michael? You're smarter than this. It's a fucking 6x6 box with a desk. If you can't see her through the window, she's under the desk. Do you like being in the rain? It's okay, I suppose. And the door might still be locked, but Michael should be smart enough to know that that guy had the keys. Or he could just decide to demolish the whole building. That works. This Tyler Made Michael is somebody that you look at and you're just like, oh yeah, he just smashed the whole building. They could have done the H2O callback though and had him going for the keys, and then she's like, fuck, I gotta figure out how to get out of here before he opens that door. Right now she could unlock the door and run out. He's on the other side. Well, now he's by the door. And see, for the grunting, when he's stabbing the black chick, he's grunts, and now he's grunting as he tears apart the wall. He's just gonna... And now the dream sequence is over, and all the good parts of the movie are over. So, I'd like to thank you for tuning into this episode of the commentary. I'm just kidding. But this is a 2-hour movie, and we're 25 minutes into it. Her hair was tied in a knot. That doesn't seem like it would be fun. So yes, she would probably be traumatized. She would probably be on drugs. She would probably be in therapy. All of these things are probably true. But I don't know that like her just total speech pattern and the way she carries herself and everything to that effect would be so drastically changed. She uses fuck every other word. She just breaks the fuck meter. Annie's character's decent in this. She's a realistic person. And bracket's good.
Want some egg whites?
No, we're gonna get more sticky buns on the way in.
Oh, that's great. Pastry for breakfast. Seriously, 500 calories of sugar and shit.
He's so legitimately satisfied with that. Like, I wish that I could be that excited about getting a pastry in the morning. I mean, I'll eat the motherfucker, but I'm just not that excited about it.
God, Harry, why don't we just have them take the cheese and put it on cardboard? I mean, cardboard's got a lot of fiber and it's cheap.
No meat.
Now you're a vegetarian. Was she a vegetarian before? We didn't really address that, did we? In the first one.
Just a little.
God. Just when I think I can get back to something as simple as sleep, it's like. Feedback.
See, this is Laurie Strode. This is the character from the previous movie. In this little moment right now. But when she flips out in a second about one more day at a time, it's like two different people. It's like she's schizophrenic.
Guess I know what I'll be yakking about in therapy today.
One day at a time, babe.
One day at a time. One fucking day at a time. You know what? If I hear that fucking phrase one more time,
Fucking.
It's her job, Lori. My God. What am I supposed to say? Move fucking who for you?
Yeah, get real with her. You've experienced this shit too.
I don't fucking care. I don't understand, Lori.
She's got scars all over her face. Show some respect. She can pull your card, bitch. You gonna pull the poor me stuff with your friend who got it first?
I wake up and I feel like I can't even breathe.
Do you have your pillow over your face? Look at that badass 3000 GT.
I'm confused, but, gosh, I can't say that I'm surprised.
He doesn't really address what era.
It's a big trigger point.
Like, we kind of get the feel that the original starts in the 70s when Michael's a kid. And then it's kind of like the early 90s in the first one. So is this like the mid 90s?
Stupid holiday.
Lori, they never found his body.
So?
So it's very hard for you to get closure on this. I mean, he's objectively, but he's living in your mind and he's living in your heart and your emotions. So that's the reality that we have to heal you from, which is why I say you're still in recovery.
Basically, I just have to wait till my brain.
Yeah. Well, you've definitely got the wrong attitude about it.
Your brain heal a little bit today, okay?
You're too willing to have a problem. You don't seem like you're fighting it enough to me. I'm not a psychiatrist, and I've never lived through a near murder, but I feel like you're approaching this like, I'm uncurable, I'm never gonna get better, I need drugs, I have this issue. Like it's like people who lead off conversations with their health issues, like it's what comprises their being. I understand for some people with debilitating shit, birth defects, you know, born without a hand, all that stuff, that's real. But somebody who's like, hi, I'm Jan and I'm diabetic, and the first time you meet them, ugh, they're going to be looking to blame so many things on their diabetes. They're going to be late for meetings because of it. They're going to, maybe diabetes is a poor example, but you get my picture. There's a type of person who's willing to make an excuse, and there's a type of person who doesn't and fights against it at all cost. It's quite obviously two white horses back to back.
Whatever you think it is what that.
No, it's not whatever you think it is. It's meant to look like two white horses.
Bring your subconscious thoughts into the
You're insulting the shit out of the audience right now by trying to make us think that that's a Rorschach test and not just back-to-back white horses.
White horse.
Uh,
So what does that tell you? Am I crazy or Steve?
you're a girl who likes white horses.
I fucking hate white horses. You're dumb. For real, though. I see two white horses there. I don't give a fuck about horses. Punch a horse in the face. hacksaw a horse's muzzle off just so I could punch it in the face. PETA be damned. Oh, now we get Loomis. Oh, God. So, the original Loomis, Donald Pleasance, he didn't buy the hype in any of the movies. Every single time people thought Michael was gone, he didn't. Every time people said there was no way, he said it's possible. And in this movie, he totally believes the fucking hype. He believes Michael's dead, and he believes that he's some badass and that he saved the day, and he's got this marvelous insight into the human psyche because he treated this guy for 15 years and got nowhere. And he's just a proper cunt. I can say that because he's English and a dude. Proper cunt. That outfit is fucking disgusting. You fake motherfucker. Nobody gives a shit what jacket you're wearing, man. What a doucher. I wanted fucking sizzling hot. Uncle meets Java Hole? Ugh. I wouldn't go there just because of the name. That was a nice Volkswagen thing.
Wow, the Princess of Punctuality is a little late. Alert the authorities. Warrior's been replaced by a pod.
Whoa, wait, I'm early. I worked over 10
So are they implying that she's normally a very punctual and on-time person? Because that doesn't seem to go along with her new character. Seems like she'd be sporadic and her whole life would be a mess if we're going with this.
You can save the slacker shit for those corporate bloodsuckers who can afford it. That's why we're going down the toilet. Since 1946, this country has been
Oh man, corporations really can afford the slacker shit.
really interested.
The older I get, the more I discover that like 50% of all companies is just people checking and fixing the work of the other 50%. If you eliminated the mistakes, oh my God. Just the slacking and the mistakes. People playing fucking games at their work, at their job instead of doing it. And a core part of that issue is that people get paid by the hour instead of by what they do. So they're looking to just waste a certain amount of time instead of get a certain amount done. This brunette chick is fucking cute. Ugh. That's like right up my alley. This off-brand kind of record store is cool. And he's upset about the corporations taking all the business, etc. But the internet's gonna wipe out his business model sooner than he knows. So yeah, this is probably the mid-90s when little record stores like this were still a thing, and they were very much upset by the Sam Goodies and Best Buys and Circuit Cities of the world coming in and stomping on their Kool-Aid. In the original, didn't he stop talking before his mom killed herself? Didn't he become a mute after he killed the nurse?
I think you can all see quite clearly here that Michael's psychotic.
Yeah, because Loomis is outside talking to his mom and tells her that he hasn't spoken in 2 weeks. So this video interaction where Michael is talking about his mom coming back never happened.
Fate of all of us. To direct our first sexual impulses towards our mothers.
What he's talking about right here, I didn't realize he was going to bring up in this movie, but I addressed in the previous one. I guess Rob Zombie is just spelling out the plot of the previous movie for you. It's essentially that he's going for a kill his father, fuck his mother kind of thing.
Does anybody
So he's holding his mom up on this pedestal as like the ideal female, and he's in competition with his quote unquote father.
I would like to answer it in part by quoting the great George Bernard Shaw with a little luminous twist. He says, in the arts...
This is a really fucking drawn out, vague way to answer that guy's question.
He outdoes nature herself and produces, by chemistry and machinery, all the slaughter of plague, pestilence, famine, and Michael Myers.
So I guess he's implying that nurture created Michael? Because he's saying that in respect of death, man is capable of outdoing nature.
As many as 15 victims.
I have tremendous sympathy for all the families involved. And do I personally feel responsible now? No, I do.
How could he personally feel responsible? He was just the psychiatrist. The thing was broken before he ever got there.
Not a psychic Sherlock Holmes playing Superman.
If you take your car to a mechanic and he tells you that he's unable to fix it, and then you take it out and kill somebody with it, is it the mechanic's fault? Is it your fucking fault?
Let me make things nice and sparkling.
So this is the first time we actually see Michael in reality, because the previous shit in the hospital was a dream sequence. And now he wears hoodies and walks through fields. And he's not wearing his mask. He's got a beard. He already had the long hair. The beard kind of makes sense, though. He's not shaven. He wouldn't be doing that. And I guess maybe they finally demolished his house because he's staying at this fucking barn out in the middle of nowhere. This area feels very similar to the beginning of Halloween 4, though. And the fucking mom. I just can't follow along with this mom thing. It's just, oh, you got Michael doing dumb shit. I'm out. Like, really. At least in 6, when it was supposed to be the thorn and all this shit, it was never so overt. They never showed us the perspective of Michael and had us hearing some voice or anything like that. Michael's actions were at least somewhat mysterious. We weren't so much inside his mind in this way. And he wasn't this needy little boy that needs to regain the relationship with his mom. Now we need more hillbilly motherfuckers, even though this takes place in Illinois. I'm gonna fuck him in the butt, pee in his mouth. Fuck it, I'm gonna fuck him in the mouth and pee in his butt. That's the guy in the passenger seat is the guy who owns the pawn shop in Pulp Fiction and actually is a rapist in that movie. Calls up Zed. Who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Hey, stupid slimy dick. I told you if you came on this land again, I'll beat the fuck out of you.
Doesn't look like you're using it for much.
What do you think you're doing here? Figured you're dumb.
He's just walking.
7-foot fucktard. I'm talking, you shitheel. You stupid fuck. I'm talking to you.
Michael was carrying the mask on him, apparently. Those are some solid shots. That wouldn't feel great at all. We know that Michael is at least somewhat superhuman because he survived that shot to the face. Lori actually comes out and says she shot him in the fucking face. Of course, she says fuck in there. She can't just say she shot him in the face. And he has no, the mask is a little fucked up, but he's fine. So these baseball bat hits aren't going to be anything. And that's not a thing that is solely a Rob Zombie Halloween movie thing. Most of the other ones ignore things. Like in Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, he got shot in both eyes with a gun, and they never made him blind. They just kind of ignored that. But they did make him scarred up from the fire in 4, 5, and 6. And then when we get to H2O, they're like, nope, no fire. Even though H2O is supposed to include the original Halloween 2, where the fire happened, he's not scarred up or damaged at all. Oof. Is that across the eye? He spikes homeboy on the front, kind of like the way he kills Jamie in 6. Again, berserker. You just don't want to fuck with this Michael. But now we're gonna... Is he gonna grunt? Why not just show him taking a painful shit if we're gonna have him grunt? He just took everything and threw it right out the window. From the get-go with this movie, his intentions were not to be true to anything regarding a Halloween film, in my opinion. So the first one came out, and there was a lot of people upset by that, by the first one, what he did with it. And I get it. That's just what happens. You have to expect that. You got to let that roll off your shoulders, because like anytime something is remade and it was a classic, the people who really loved the classic are going to have problems with the remake. It's basically par for the course. Look at when they brought back the GTO in the 2000s, and the purists from the day back in the day were like, this fucking GTO sucks. And you just kind of deal with that, and it grows on them, and they either deal with it and still have a GTO, or they stop making it. Wouldn't you rather have the GTO? So that's kind of my opinion of the first one. It's like, yeah, he made some mistakes. He did some things that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's a Halloween movie, and I want Halloween movies, so I'll take it. But I feel like he did get a lot of criticism for that. And mainly, so they wanted him to loosely follow the structure of the original, the John Carpenter one. And I think they gave him certain points he had to hit in the storyline. And he kind of had some room to explore. So he goes ahead and makes it a 2-hour movie, and we spend a lot more time on Michael before he breaks out of the hospital. We have a lot more of him being a kid, and then we have some of him being actually in the hospital, and then the breakout, and then we kind of pick up with the original storyline. So I don't disagree with the decision of showing Michael as a kid with his family, but he needed to be more normal. There was no arc. He started off crazy, and he kept being crazy. And then I don't disagree with the decision to show him in the hospital. But he needs to no longer be speaking when he's in the hospital. He needs to... there needed to be a turn with the murder of Judith where that's where the evil arrives. And he's no longer the same. And that needs to be the turning point. He kind of... There's no arc because he's crazy the whole time. And he kind of slowly becomes this non-human thing while in the hospital. But there's not really an inciting event that just turns it. So those are what I think he did wrong. And people lit him up for it. People didn't like it. So I feel like with this one, his legitimate goal was just to fuck everybody. Just piss them all off. So the beginning of the movie, even though he throws in the white horse a little bit and stuff, the beginning of the movie, that hospital sequence is like a teaser. Like, this is what you could have got, but y'all are bitches. And I'm not saying y'all are bitches. I'm saying this is what Rob Zombie thinks. So he shows you, this is what I could have given you, but you wanted to complain about everything. So here's what I think. And then he just... He just jerked off with a soft cocaine dick all over the Halloween lore and killed his own offshoot of the franchise way too prematurely. So what do I mean by he decides to say fuck you to the franchise and all the hardcore fans? Well, let's start with Loomis. He fucking totally ruins Loomis. Loomis was not nearly as much of a core character in his first Halloween as he was in any of the other ones. He didn't carry the gravitas. His scenes weren't as important feeling. And then in this one, he goes and makes him a cunt and just a totally unlikable character. Just the worst. And actually kills him at the end. Nobody who's a longtime fan of the Halloween series would want that. Especially since Loomis was so great the entire time, as Donald Pleasance was. And then he died. So we didn't really... It's not like we had the option to get more of him. We wanted to see a reboot of Loomis that was more true to form. Laurie, she's very good in the first one, and this one just falls to the wall crazy, loses all the kind of conservative girl next door appeal. Every other word is fuck, and she's like slowly turning into Michael, even though she comes from her past is not nearly as abusive. She was a baby when she got out of that house. Then you have the actual portrayal of Michael. He's a Rob Zombie on steroids clone with the beard and the long hair. I address the mask that's kind of fucked up that I don't mind. But later in the movie, he goes ahead and just rips half of it off, and you can just see his face. We see Michael's face in other scenes in the movie. He has him grunting during a bunch of the kills during the fucking axe scene. He's making all this noise that Michael does not do. And then, of course, he talks when he kills Loomis. And the big fucking reveal, this huge buildup, you think it's so important that you need to have Michael talk, and all he says is die? Like, it's the most well-concocted piece of shit I've ever seen. Like, when you watch Halloween 5, you know it's a piece of shit. It doesn't even look great. The score is bad. The mask is untucked. The portrayal of Michael sucks. The acting is wonky. Like, it's just a bad movie. This is like, hey, we got pretty good actors. It's shot pretty well. The lighting's all good. We got a decent this. But the story is just fucking horrible. It's like, it's like if your hamburger, instead of being 93% beef and 7% fat, if it was 93% fat and 7% beef. The sizzle. He's selling the sizzle, not the steak. So, I guess he succeeded because he effectively killed the franchise. I mean, closer to dead than maybe anybody has. They actually were still going to try to rush out a sequel to this, a third one, but luckily they didn't because it would have been horrible. I just know it. So you just wonder why he's such a sensitive little bitch. I know artists just by rule are usually sensitive, but he is highly successful at this point. Tons of record sales, reasonable box office, doing his thing. He shouldn't have anything to prove to anybody. So to take that criticism and just pout in the corner and concoct this way that you're gonna fuck the whole franchise over it's a bitch move. I haven't been talking about the movie for a minute, my bad. So this is a dream that she's having where she's basically recreating the movie or the murder from the first one where Michael killed Ronnie when he was a kid, and she's taping up Annie. Maybe there's just some shit in that gene pool that makes people turn into killers, but she showed no signs up until the trauma from Michael, the last one. And now she just wants to be a murderer. He kind of started this direction in the last one, which was one of the mistakes he made, where Michael doesn't really want to kill Laurie. He's trying to tag team up with her and become the world champions. And they kind of go that direction even more with this one. with the Michael and having visions of his mom who's dead and talking about getting the family back together, and that's what I want. I want to feel bad for my Michael Myers. And he did kind of a weird thing in The Devil's Rejects. I don't know if I'm the only person that feels this way. I can't be the only person that feels this way. I feel like he did a turn in The Devil's Rejects where he takes characters that I fucking hated in House of a Thousand Corpses. I didn't even like the movie. And he takes them, and throughout their journey of running from the cops and going to Charlie's and all that, they somehow become likable, at least to me. Maybe I'm a psychopath, but I felt like Captain Spaulding, Otis, Baby, whatever the fuck he called his wife in that movie, they became sympathetic at the end. They just kind of leaned that way to the point where they're being tortured and you're actually rooting for them. And then Tiny comes out, breaks Homeboy's neck, and you're actually happy that they're like getting away. And then they're having their drive off into the sunset, and they run into the roadblock and get shot to shit. And I was like legitimately disappointed that they died. So he achieved this, in my opinion, this great turn of turning the killers into the sympathetic characters, and then having them die, and you feel bad that the killers died at the end. He did not do that with Michael in this at all. I don't know what direction he's going, but he just ruined everything you like about him and added a bunch of stuff you hate about him, and it's... And on top of that, it's a fucking 2-hour movie. Both the Rob Zombie Halloweens are 2-hour movies. We definitely needed more.
You are so much stronger than you think you are. You are. Now, come on, sit down. Sit down.
And this beginning not beginning portion, because of course the hospital is the first sequence. But from the hospital until the actual Halloween night killing starts, way too drawn out. Too much arguing with the therapist and screaming and crying and poor me and... How are you affording $100 an hour? She's out of high school at this point, right? They were in school in the last one, but this is 2 years later, so they graduated last year or something. Another fucking walking through the field scene. Wearing his huge field jacket with a hood. I guess that might hint a little bit towards the intelligence of Michael. He's trying to keep his appearance a little bit low-key, but... Brackett hates Loomis. He kind of, I guess maybe he thought that he could use Brackett and kind of thrust him into the Loomis role and then have Loomis pulled out on the periphery and hated and killed, and Brackett could take on that mantle. I'm not really sure. But he definitely made Brackett a much more likable character.
But as my old Aunt Vera used to say, freaks always find their way home.
And there's the shot in the first one where Loomis is given that speech and he's talking in the auditorium, and he's got the picture of Michael up, and he says these are the eyes of a psychopath, but the camera is focused squarely on his eyes, on Loomis's eyes. Like, Rob Zombie wanted Loomis to go the psychopath route.
This is how your new work friends will. Maybe. Jealous. Whatever. You know what, Annie? I don't need your shit.
She doesn't need your shit. What are you talking
I
about?
don't need my shit. You don't need my shit? I put up with your shit.
Yeah, give it to her.
24/7.
Oh my god. Just lay into her.
Or what? What the fuck are you gonna do? You know what? You act like you're the only one whose life got fucking trashed.
Yeah, show her the scars.
Not buying the new Lori act.
You're using your trauma to make yourself feel special. That's what it is. She definitely suffered some trauma. She's definitely got some issues. She's definitely fucked up. but using that as a method to make herself feel superior or special, like she has to be treated different. His mom is still on the sign even though she killed herself 2 years ago.
Can't afford to hear tits.
This guy's funny. And this character, he's actually in the first one. Totally different haircut, way more low key. He's in the scene. He walks Sherry Moon Zombie out to her car in the Love Hurts montage, and he's not such a loud, larger than life character like he is in this one.
That's right, I love you, man. That's why the whole town loves you.
They love me like
And it's the Rabbit in Red, which is a callback to the matchbook from the first one, but it was a matchbook that the nurse had when she's driving the car with Loomis. I doubt that nurse was going to this shitty strip club.
Green makes you look sexy, baby.
And you got this stripper who's fucking the owner so she can get the good stage times.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I got a riddle for you. What does a stripper do with their asshole before she dances?
Bleaches it.
She gives them two
I don't know that.
She tells them to take out the trash.
Take out the trash, Howard.
Take out the trash out.
He's good at taking out the trash.
Alright, you cocksucker. She only wants to fuck you because you own the place.
Enjoy the fucking herpes, old man.
He sounds like he knows from experience. What is this John Travolta dance move before he goes outside? He was supposed to take out the trash. He brought no trash with him. He's just outside. Oh, okay, my bad. The trash was already out. My wife does that shit. Thinks putting the trash outside the door is taking the trash out. Ooh. Listen, you fucking jag off. He wants to play Billy Badass with Michael. You can be confident in your ability to kick ass and defend yourself and handle your business. That's fine. But you shouldn't be so confident in your knowledge of other people's ability to do it. So he's just assuming he can kick this dude's ass. Oh yeah, let's square shot of Michael's face. You can't be delusional about your abilities, and you can't underestimate other people's abilities. You should approach everybody with caution. And then if you are that much more badass, you'll show it. But to come in all fucking Billy Blast off with Michael, you're gonna get your card pulled. Filthy, dirty, hippie. Michael's just been a burnout this whole time. He's smoking ganja in his barn and having hallucinations of his mom. Ooh. Made out of corded steel, bitch. We gonna get the Sartain head stomp? I actually like this head stomp better. The one in the new 2018 Halloween is too exaggerated. His head like explodes like a fucking watermelon. Whereas this one just seemed like a dude getting his face smashed. Do so many of the characters in your movies have to look so similar? Like, wasn't she dressed like this in House of a Thousand Corpses and Lords of Salem or something? And how's mommy gonna strip for you? This is a weird scene. Okay. Now we've got the super crucial scene where he kills the strip club owner and this useless stripper. And he gets his mask torn off. It's very important to the lore. We need to have a better understanding of why he wanted to kill this stripper and the technique she used when tearing his mask off. This is all very important stuff. You're not... That dude is scary as fuck. You need to be... Yeah, pull out the gun and just shoot him. Fuck all this machismo barking at the fence. Just handle it. You don't need to get close to him to shoot him. You don't need to get within an arm's reach. You can just shoot. And you can start with the knee. And then if he starts talking and it was a misunderstanding, a little bit of harm, but no foul. He came in and hung that dude up and they didn't even hear it. This arm break is fucking badass though. Oh! And the way that he has to favor it for the rest of the fight now. She is bad at escaping. She has kind of a flat ass too. If we're gonna cast somebody to essentially... her main function in the film is to run around naked and look scared, could we get somebody who looks a little better naked? I mean, she's not disgusting or anything, but she's got kind of a flat ass. She's got tattoos in weird spots. You can find a girl on Instagram that would do this. Oh, now the mask is removed. They finally removed Kane's mask and found out he's a burn victim. Please smash that bitch's head into this mirror a million times as payback for her ripping that fucking mask. Unforgivable offense. Now you look like some kind of fucking weird hybrid between Thomas Jane and I don't know who. It'll come to me. Now Bragg is going to read Loomis's newest book, where Loomis reveals that Lori is actually Angel Myers, and he does it with a picture of her. Talk about busting out somebody's spot, or blowing up their spot, I mean. Don't just stand there, bust a move. You want it, you got it. You want it, baby, you got it. Don't just stand there, bust a move.
No, she's not before I got up. Why was that? Well, could you do me a favor? Could you find her and then...
So, as if she wasn't already a mess, now she's going to discover this, and she's going to really spiral, I would say out of control, but it's just kind of more of the same.
I just need to talk to her, sweetie, okay?
Both of these movies are a lot of showing people being the same. The character arcs aren't really... Let's walk through a field more. Yes! When I wake up. And we're just straight looking at his face now. So goddamn disappointing. You need to almost believe that he doesn't have a face. Like that's the way it feels when he's wearing the mask. It removes the humanity from him very effectively. Now he's just a person.
He's still out there. Rich and famous. All because of our pain.
Where'd you get those jackets, man? You just kill people and take their clothes, or? Her hair looks blonde to me. This fucking guy.
Can you make it out to, sorry, I'm a little nervous, Chet?
I don't know why we need this guy in here either. This whole scene. I mean, we get the guy who's upset that Linda was his daughter and Michael killed her, but people blaming Loomis for it, that was never really a factor in the other movies. Why is it Loomis's fault? If you send somebody in to help and they can't help, is the original problem their fault? I just don't. You send somebody with cancer to the doctor and he doesn't cure the cancer, so the cancer becomes his fault at that point? I don't. Michael was a broken human being before he ever became in touch with Loomis. This dude actually looks like he could be her dad if you look at the eyes.
This is my daughter. Linda. The monster killed her.
Michael is Loomis's monster, but it's in a more of a, like a, fuck, like a, I can't even think of the terms. It's like a Moby Dick type situation, or yeah, it's eluding me right now. Oof. That escalated quickly. So now he doesn't even care about putting his hood up anymore. And Loomis is riding around in limos. He got rich off of Michael. You decided to do it instead of doing real work.
Just what is that tone, Miss McDonald? Do you think I'm crossing the line or something? I mean, do please feel free to...
All of your information about Michael comes from observation, too. You had no actual interactions. He never spoke or anything. So this is a total one-sided... She decided to read the book, and she's now discovered her true identity. She was the second gunman on the grassy knoll. Again, so many fucks. At least there's an Illinois license plate on the car. Oh, now the hood's back up. Michael cares about being cold. All that hair doesn't keep his ears warm. Now she's really off the rails. She's gone from psycho level 9 to psycho level 10. Doesn't seem like much, but, you know. She's got a Charles Manson poster above her bed, like... So she admires psychopaths now. She was almost murdered 2 years ago by Michael Myers, and now she's got Charles Manson poster on the wall.
Daddy's little princess knows all, right? What are you talking about? Hey, stop it! Calm down. Look at me. What is going on? Let me oh my God. Okay.
It would be a tremendous sense of betrayal, I suppose, if these people... She doesn't even know who knew, but her bracket definitely knew. He might have been the only one. But it was for her own protection. He never anticipated Michael coming back into her life.
She ran out screaming some shit about tell your dad, and Angel says, fuck you.
Angels are in heaven, I think. I don't know. Never read the Bible.
Okay. Oh, boss, last year she tried to kick me in the nuts. You know she's not gonna like this. I don't care what she's like. Now, get over to my place. And if she's
That would be an uncomfortable position. You're a cop. Like, you're supposed to be able to handle any situation. But your boss sends you over to watch his daughter, and she's not cooperative. So, you can't really handle her in any type of conventional way because your authority doesn't really mean anything because your boss is also her dad. So he can veto your decision on both ends. So your hands are kind of tied. You're getting sent on a fool's errand.
See, I went into this bookstore and I got this book and inside there's just a bunch of pictures and
God damn, she's hot.
I'm a chick dressing up as a dude to be a chick.
Does she have a tattoo right above her vag, though?
Who died?
I'm not looking to fuck tattoos.
Maybe did somebody really die? I know.
I guess I don't spend a lot of time staring at somebody's pubic bone while I'm fucking them, but it's not. If I had to pick, I wouldn't put a tattoo there.
Who are you then? I'm Angel.
Do we see her tits? She seems like the kind of girl that would have pierced nipples.
Michael Blair's sister. Alright, dude, even I wouldn't fucking touch that joke. You can't get around about that.
It's such a ridiculous notion they don't even believe her.
I'm fucking joking. Alright, it's fucking done. Like, look at this. Right? Look, there's me. Angel Myers, and here's my fucked up life.
Congratulations.
Holy shit, dude. Fucking insane.
Our next guest gained in.
Wouldn't it give you somewhat of a bit of comfort, though, knowing at least why he came after you? You at least know the connection. It wasn't random.
Anyway, his new book called The Devil Walks Among Us is available somewhere. Please welcome Dr. Samuel Loomis.
Strong Chris Hardwick and Weird Al. Giving Loomis the business like this fucking version of him deserves. Yeah, we all feel very bad for you. Good news, folks. We only have 45 minutes left in this fucking movie.
They outright accuse of profiteering off the misery of others. I mean, how do you even respond to that criticism? Well, you know, I think that's. I always get permission to do the parody. Well, let's talk about it.
Loomis doesn't even get the joke. He's such a cunt.
Your turn. I'm done.
Pompous
I
ass.
take issue with that statement. Besides, I might say that I've enjoyed quite a lot of the misery of my own.
He has profited from the misery of others, but he was hands-on.
Humiliated in all my life.
He did interact with Michael more than anybody else ever. He's the only one for 15 years. And he did have the previous book, so it's like a follow-up. So, on one hand, it seems like he's exploiting the situation. But on the other hand, he was already moving that direction in the other one. Before Michael broke out and even went on this fresh killing spree, when Michael was still locked up in the hospital, he had written a book about Michael. It just probably didn't get the notoriety because it wasn't as fresh. But after, you know, he goes on a rampage through a town and you come out with a book immediately after. It's kind of like Gail Weathers with the Woodsboro murders and Scream. I guess she came out with the book in between Scream 1 and 2. But she also wrote a book about Sydney's mom.
I'm gonna party. I've spent my whole fucking life being good, and look where it's gotten me. Fucking nowhere.
I don't think that I think you've been partying for like 2 years.
Are you guys with me or not? I think that we should stay back.
I think that you're going to go out and make some rash decisions in the state of mind you're in. You're probably going to like get in a gangbang and get pregnant and not know who the dad is. You're just looking for too much emotional release and you want something to make you feel good. Not a good state of mind to be in. See, if you were a dude in this situation, I'd tell you to jerk off and then let me know if you still want to go out. Once that motivation's out of the way, if you still want to leave the house, then we'll think about it. But it's hard to tell a girl to go rub one out and then we'll talk about it. I'm assuming these are all girls. Have they actually said that? Have they specified their pronouns yet? That one girl, she's sexy. What else is she in? The Garters. Ooh. The one thing I thought was weird is that Rob Zombie took that strip club guy that got murdered and just put some makeup on him and put him in this scene later in the movie. This is a fucking badass Halloween party, though. I would attend this every day. And this is a scenario where the naked chicks dancing around fits in. I went to a concert once out here called Rockfest. I actually went to it several years in a row, but one of the incarnations of the Rockfest, they had a stripper stage off to the side of the music stage, and chicks would get up there and dance in between songs. And this one chick, she had these huge tits, and she took a dude's snapback. I think actually that we wore fitteds back then, and she stuck it on her tit like it was like a coat hook, and the hat just stuck to her tit and hung on there. So then this next girl gets up, and she has smaller tits, but she's trying to up the ante and not do the last one. So she starts showing her pussy. And this is all in this big open field rock concert environment. And, she's lifted up 10 feet above the crowd, and everybody's screaming. It's just chaos. Good time had by all.
We'll all find out. Oh, I'm shaking in my boots.
See, how do you respond to that? She can pull your card, and there's nothing you can do. Just call his bluff. Haddonfield is not a very big place, at least it wasn't in John Carpenter's. Organizing a party like this and getting this many people to attend and having it come off this well in that small of a place is a feat in and of itself. Oh, well, now we're gonna get the awkward dude. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but he acts like a fucking 15-year-old who's never had a snatch before. Just that he's real uncomfortable. She's trying to make subtle advances to him, and even not so subtle advances.
But you, want a chick though, right? Just,
Put your hand down my pants and
See, she says, she wants you to cop a feel, bro. Just cop it. She's inviting you. But he's so unsure of he's so uncomfortable with the idea that somebody actually wants to fuck him. He has such a lack of confidence in that arena that he's like waiting for her to actually physically make the first move, because he just doesn't believe that she wants to do it. He feels like he's going to be intruding on her or harassing her in some way if he attempts. But she just said, why don't you shove your hand down my pants and find out? Ain't got to tell me twice. That's all I need. And now they get in here and he's like trying to make small talk, talking about how much pussy he's gotten in that van, which doesn't seem believable at all. And she just wants to get down to business, and he's like, let's be friends. You want to come to my birthday party? I got a juice box. Do you want to see my computer?
love it.
That is a badass mask, makeup effect, whatever the fuck he's got on. Because it seems seamless, like his eyes are actually blinking.
Blonde and Jack and Lizer both have 3 holes.
This guy. Wow! Not really impressed when girls can do that. When a dude can do it, it means he's accumulated enough pectoral muscles and the control of them to be able to flex them and have them bounce. If you just have huge tits with a little bit of muscle underneath and you can make them jiggle a bit, I'm not so impressed. And it's not indicative of a functional ability or practical ability.
Talking's not working, okay?
I'll show.
Yeah, talking is not working. You should have shoved your hand down her pants back outside. We're getting into the era where girls are starting to shave their bushes, so you might have lucked out, man. She might be on the cutting edge and be bald. What? Where are you going? Oh, he was awkward and uncomfortable and didn't have the balls to tell her he needed to piss beforehand. See, if he'd peed before he got in, he'd be getting his dick wet right now, and maybe he doesn't get murdered by Michael. She's got one stocking on. I'm gonna bite my fist. How does he kill this guy? Was it just a simple cut and paste? Always killing people before, during, or after fucking. Michael's not a fan of fucking. He's got half a mask. He just looks like a homeless guy now. This poor girl. The poor guys that don't get to experience her because she's now dead. She would have been a valuable experience to many a guy. Who knows, maybe she was going to grow up and marry the Wolfman if he got over his awkwardness and finally closed the deal. Oh, she's taking a nap. That's sweet. He's he's just such a dickhead. He's not noted.
Self-inflated ego and never-ending quest for fame and fortune. Damn. You're strapped on. How you swallow that? Snap! You get snapped on by weirdo.
What is this weird show?
Shock it. You actually know that every gory detail, begging me to show you the secret. You telling me there's no difference between Michael Myers and a shark? Of course there is.
A little bit.
I'm a little confused. Are we talking about the Austin Powers Mike Myers?
Ooh, go meta on him. The Austin Powers movies exist in this story. I want to go to a party like this and just hear somebody play a band like this play Devil Came Down to Georgia. I would fucking love it. Devil came down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul steal. Watching Tenacious D play a show like this would be fucking dope too. Play the best song in the world, or I'll eat your souls. Now she sees the mom and young Michael, whom she never met. She doesn't know what either of these people looked like. I guess maybe she saw pictures in the fucking book. It's a picture book. She looks like a cracked out Trinity. The mom. Oh. She's hallucinating again. Is that the same friend, the blonde-haired one? She doesn't look anything like her. Is this the chick that had the glasses? I wonder how many times I've run into somebody that was wearing a wig and I just straight up didn't know. Like that, the Halsey girl, she's wearing fucking wigs 24/7. She's always got a different fucking wig on. In Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, Jamie Lee Curtis is wearing a wig that entire movie. I had no idea.
Seriously, stop calling.
Oh. Okay, take a couple of bong hits for Jesus.
I know you love me. I love you too.
So why does Michael go to the Brackett house? This isn't where... He hasn't been here before. He didn't have his initial interaction with Annie or Lori here. I don't think he knows that Lori lives with them now. I don't think he knows that Annie survived. So the fact that he just shows up at this house, that was a badass walkout from behind the tree, though. He just shows up at the house to kill her. A lot of connecting dots that it doesn't seem like he would have Like, it always made sense before when it was like he went back to the Myers house and then he saw somebody and caught on from there. But how does he know where this place is? Oh, Jesus. Could you guys decorate your house in a way that makes it look a little bit less like a place someone's going to get murdered? Oh, shit. This would be so fucking scary if you were her, because she's already gone through this once. Just legit worst nightmare is about to happen to her. And he seems mad. He didn't finish the job the first time. I apologize if you guys are listening to this and you're like, man, his energy level's low. He's not talking as much as he normally does. So, not saying as interesting of things. I'm just not as interested in this movie. But I committed. I can't do most of the Halloweens. I can't do pick and choose the Halloweens. That's just not the way I'm built. If I'm going to do commentary on a Halloween movie, I'm going to do commentary on all the Halloween movies. So here we are. This is actually the last one. Dun dun dun. Hallelujah. For those of you that are like, wait a minute, you've referenced the 2018 one multiple times. That came out after this. I already did that. I did that first, actually. I've been thinking about going back and doing it again, but after 10 Halloween movies of commentary, I'm starting to get a bit burnt out on the Halloween movies, just if I'm being honest. It's been a lot. It's been just encompassing a solid portion of my life lately, watching these movies, doing reviews on these movies, recording the commentaries, working my way through. It's taken like a month and a half. So the idea of moving on to another movie is appealing. I would still at some point like to go back and re-record the commentary for the 2018 Halloween though, because it wasn't as comfortable in the space, and I hadn't seen the movie enough times to really formulate my opinions on it and, you know, kind of get a good feel of the story. It was only the second time I'd ever watched the movie. So, yeah. So he's creeping around the house. He already fucked Annie up. They're completely oblivious to it. Making they tea.
These are so good.
Ta-ta on the wind, chickabee. May and now.
Mommy, a cookie's gonna save me.
You need to absorb that booze, bitch. Oh man, having that feeling that you have when you've been drinking all night and you're just ready to go to bed, and then have all these events start to happen to you when you're already in that fucked up state of mind. I guess your adrenaline and shit would kick in, fight or flight, and you'd probably be all right. But once that wore off, you'd be dead tired. Why isn't he grunting with her? It could sound like a sex scene. Is she naked again? I thought she was wearing a robe or something. Rob Zombie really wanted to make her naked in these movies. I think maybe you should have left the slaughtered friend on the floor and the two live ones stick together. She's not going to get more slaughtered. Why doesn't she assume he's in the house still? This is exactly what happened in the last one. She ran into the aid of Annie, and he was creeping around in the house. She ran over to use the phone, and he came out, and then she's like, oh shit, shit's getting real. This is almost an identical scenario. Why wouldn't she have walked in and been like, oh fuck, Michael's here? Instead, she's gonna sit by Annie and tell her everything's okay and holler for the friend when she knows damn well what is going on. Why doesn't she own a gun? As concerned as she is about Michael. Or have a knife block on the nightstand. Knife block on the nightstand. That's a good album name. Sorry for that noise. It's probably a bit obnoxious. Had to reheat my coffee. You're on an island up there. You're trapped. You need to get the fuck out of that little tiny bathroom. And?
Dispatch? Yes, sir, I did. So why are you telling me about it?
Why are you burying the lead? Why did it take 30 seconds of conversation for you to tell me that? Why wasn't it? I just got a 911 call from your house. Fucking bury the lead on me like that. I would have been pissed at that lady. We didn't do this in the last movie exactly the same way. Not exactly the same way, but pretty much. It almost feels like a tease. Was she going to be alive again in the next one? Because I thought she was dead at the end of the first one. The fuck? You still haven't made the guess that maybe Michael is in the fucking house? This is survival mode. She's probably not going to survive. You probably can. You gotta fucking leave her. This isn't the Marines. There's no man left behind shit. You don't have to carry her dead body out. You need to go. And maybe acquire a weapon. You had no problem shooting him and shit in the last movie. Like if she had a gun and he's beating on the door, you know exactly where it is. You just light that fucking door up. Light it up. Fire it up. Fire it up. You just got to perform a murder-death kill on him. You don't know about the 3 seashells. He doesn't know about the 3 seashells. And Brackett's reaction to finding Annie is fucking great. But we kind of just did this in the last one. But he plays it. It's such great acting. The no, Annie, no. Like that's what a person in that moment just expressing feeling would sound like to me. Not really thinking about what they say. They're just distraught. Especially since he already went through this once and she survived. You don't think that it's gonna happen again. I guess she really is dead this time, and now it has the flashbacks of her as a kid, which is us die-hard Halloween fans recognize her from Halloween 4 and 5 when she was that age. It's like her send-off for the franchise, I guess. But, I mean, I ain't mad at her for getting back in the second movie, getting paid again, having a reasonable role. She's in the movie for more than half of it. So good on her. And then she got her proper send-off for the Halloween fans, because they did her dirty in the first run. They put her in that piece of shit Halloween 5 around a bunch of people that are on coke and don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's not verified. That's just my opinion based off watching the movie, just seeing what they were able to accomplish there, and kind of watching some behind the scenes stuff and a documentary or two. I feel like everybody there was just gacked out of their minds the whole time and directing this little kid on things to do. So anyway, they put her in that piece of shit movie, and then when it comes time to make 6, they try to cast someone who looks like her but not her, and then they try to say it's because she's not 18 and they want to be able to work certain hours, etc. So she gets emancipated from her fucking parents. This is the girl that plays Annie in this movie, Danielle Lewis. She played Jamie in 4 and 5. She gets emancipated from her parents so that she can come out and do the part. They kill her in the first act and offered to pay her less money than it cost her to get emancipated. So she said, never mind. She also read the script and could tell that it was not a good script. So that's a brief history on Danielle Lewis in the Halloween franchise. So that was kind of how it ended. Left a bitter taste in people's mouths. But if she had come back for 6 and been killed off, she probably wouldn't have been in these ones. That's one thing that Rob Zombie nailed, is he knew that we missed Danielle Lewis. We wanted our Danielle Lewis back. So he brought her back to play Annie, has her get cut up but survive the first one, and then in the second one she gets her proper send-off with the flashback to her being a kid and the distraught dad and the true like mourning scene. It was good. This fucking dipshit. Wasn't that guy the killer in Jury Duty? The taser marks on the neck. I think you try to get out. I don't think you just let him tip the car over on you. Pop open the door and use it like a kickstand or something. That is a great scene, though. And this is the only Michael who's been big enough to pull off something like that. If the other ones did it, it would seem more far-fetched. It would be like legit superhuman strength. But this Michael is so giant that it almost just seems more possible. You get a guy who's like 6'8", 300 pounds, and you have a stripped down little tiny compact car, he could tip it over like that. To film that scene, that car was probably completely gutted. No engine, no seats, nothing. So it probably weighed 900 pounds. Which seems like a lot, but for a strong man to bend down and tip that bitch over, it's not as difficult as it would seem. Kill her, mommy. Kill her. Kill her, mommy. Thanks, coach. I can't see that guy's face without thinking of that. Thanks, coach. So again, Michael is carrying her. And then there's this, she can see the kid and the mom now, and the hallucination of the child is holding her back. Who's running this show, Michael or the mom? Fuck this. The mom is like the new Man in Black, except for not a real person. She's a ghost. You don't want this, mommy. They tried, like, Michael thinks that she was all that in a bag of chips, but she put him in all the situations that led to his abuse and fucked up childhood. She's just as much guilty as anybody else, if not more so. Somehow they nailed the location of this barn. Somebody saw a guy walking carrying a girl, and now they found this barn in the middle of a field. Just first try. And now Loomis, I guess, is starting to feel guilty about the feedback he's been receiving, and maybe he starts to believe that he's a bit of a dick, so he wants to go out and try to make things right. Sees the news report on TV that they found Michael, and is in apparently really close driving distance. He manages to get there before the scenario progresses at all. It's like he instantly is there. So, like, we're at this point, right? And then he has to go all the way out of his hotel, you know, ride an elevator. I'm assuming that was a hotel. Get in his car. He was being limousined around everywhere. So, I don't remember if he drives up in a car himself or gets brought in the limousine, but you'd have to fucking wrangle the driver, get your car, whatever you gotta do, and then drive all the way here. Here he is. And they're in the middle of the country. Like, where the... He got there so fast. I think you need to take a few days off, Sheriff Brackett. I agree with the man-to-man aspect of what you're doing, but you're the sheriff. You can't behave this way. Not while in uniform. If you want to drive across county lines and have a duel with him, be my guest, but this is not how you handle it.
If you have to say, Sheriff, please, you must trust me. Look, this is point.
So, 15 years of therapy sessions with Michael, he was able to get nowhere. And now he thinks in this situation, he's all of a sudden, he took the blue pill, and he's gonna have the solution. Wait, it's the red pill, right? The blue pill puts you back in the Matrix. It's the red pill. He finally took the red pill. He's out of the Matrix. He's going to be able to communicate to Michael in a way that's effective for the first time in almost 20 years. Super believable. And the fact that he has this kind of confidence. And she's being held back by the imaginary man. Hollow Man's got her. What if Michael Myers was Hollow Man at the same time, but still wore a mask? It's just a floating mask. Oh, this fucking crescendo of chaos. It's too much noise. It's like when my son tries to listen to his Amazon Echo and watch YouTube at the same time. And then I come in and do this. Turn that fucking shit off! No, I don't say it like that, but I do tell him one thing playing music at a time. Here's the big moment. That's... You have this character who, one of his most noteworthy attributes is he never speaks. And you decide to break that, which should be a seminal moment and he says, die. Die. That's the word he came up with. That's his profound fucking thought for Loomis as he kills him. This guy that he's spent more time with than anybody in his entire fucking life. Die is what he came up with? Jesus Christ. Then he's blown to bits, but you still see the breath fog rising from his face. Now somehow she still sees her fucking mother that she never knew. He's trying to imply some kind of family curse, I guess. Why does the kid's body have to be laying there too? The aspect of the kid following... that adds another level of bullshit to it. It's not just the dead mom interacting with Michael, it's the dead mom interacting with Michael and him as a kid at the same time. And then at times it seems like they're glued together when she's talking to him, but then other times the kid can break off and hold Lori down and Michael can be on the other side of the room. And now these dumbass cops, there's no communication, they just go ahead and decide to shoot her. Did he intend this to be the end of the whole run? Did he not want a sequel? You had to know what was expected of you. When the original one generates 8 sequels or various offshoots, you have to expect a reboot of the original, almost an exact copy, to generate several sequels. So to write yourself into this goddamn shit show corner on Halloween 2, maybe he got sick of it. Maybe he only had the passion for one movie and then he just wanted it to be over with. Kind of John Carpenter style. She's in this white, just everything is sanitized white except for the black base cove. It's like a hospital or something. It looks like a giant padded room, but it's not padded. And there's hallways and shit, I guess, but she's just at the far end of this hallway. That's where her bed is set up. And even in Dream World, she still looks fucked up and psycho. I thought this was supposed to be like the perfect place where you're reunited with your family. Like, Michael gets to be a little boy back in Dreamland. You still have to be scarred up and have rings around your eyes? Where'd the unicorn go? Have we seen the white horse since the fucking truck scene? Oh, they're right on cue. You gonna go barrel racing? Are we walking in the fair? What the fuck are we doing? That horse has several splotches on him. We couldn't get a more pure white horse. Now she's got this knowing grin on her face, like there's some secret that it's all gonna make sense. It makes sense in her head, just not ours or anybody else's. Go ahead and take credit for this piece of shit there, Rob. Malek, what were you doing? Now we have flashbacks of the first one. And no use of the original score or even any music feeling Halloween-like in basically the entire movie. Just totally divergent from what a Halloween film is. And if he was going to go that direction, he should have just done it from the get-go so that we didn't get our hopes up. still a bunch of fucking snapshots from the first film. Are you just reminding us? You're reminding us of the backstory after the sequel's over? We got this slower, sadder version of Love Hurts. Halloween theme by John Carpenter. When did you play it? I don't remember hearing it at all. Granted, I was talking a lot, but I definitely know it's underused. Why isn't it playing right now? This is the end credits. We always get the theme at the end credits. There you fucking go. Oh my god. So, if anybody bared with me through that whole thing, you're a saint. I guess there's probably some people out there who really like this, but I would say that they're Rob Zombie fans. They're not Halloween fans. That's just my opinion. You had a convergence of two worlds on this. You had somebody making Halloween films, but they already kind of came with their own baggage. He'd already made his own movies, had his own style, his own brand, and his own fan base. So he's bringing all that in, and that's clashing with the Halloween fan base and lore and expectations. So I think that he stayed more true to his fan base and his style than he did try to stay true to the actual Halloween lore and style. And so you're going to have a camp of people who are indifferent, but on the far ends of the spectrum, not the gender spectrum, which doesn't exist, but the far end of the fan spectrum on either side, you're going to have a camp of Halloween fans who totally hated this shit. And then on the other end, you're going to have a camp of Rob Zombie fans who ride his nuts and mark out for him and will like anything he does. So, that's basically going to conclude this. I've been doing this podcast for over 2 hours now. It's 2 a.m. We had to watch this fucking movie that just drags on and kills your soul slowly. It's like taking the most painful shit in the world and then having to vomit in the middle of it. So I appreciate you guys listening, watching. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that shit. Catch me on iTunes, Avarice Podcast, on YouTube, Avarice Trading Channel, on Instagram, Avarice Trading. Until the next time, this is Devin signing off and saying, be easy.